My husband was supporting his late brother's widow, but a DNA kit just revealed their kids are more than cousins. The results arrived in a plain white envelope on a Tuesday morning, sitting innocently between a grocery flyer and a water bill. I didn't even open it immediately. I was too busy packing a bag of organic groceries for Sarah, my husband David's sister-in-law. David's brother, Michael, passed away in a car accident 4 years ago, and ever since that day, David has made it his life's mission to be the man of the house for Sarah and her 5-year-old twins, Leo and Maya. I supported it. I really did. I told my friends I was proud of him for being such a pillar of strength. He was there for every plumbing leak, every school play, and every sleepless night when the twins were sick. Sometimes he'd be there until 2 a.m., and he'd come home smelling like Sarah's expensive sandalwood candles, looking exhausted. "She's family, Claire," he would say when I'd gingerly ask if he was overextending himself. "Michael would have done the same for you. We have a daughter of our own, Sophie, who is 6. Last month, Sophie's school started a project on heritage and identity. It was the typical primary school stuff: bring in a photo of your ancestors, talk about where your last name comes from. Sophie became obsessed with the idea of being related. She asked why she didn't look like me, with my auburn hair and green eyes, but instead looked exactly like her cousins Leo and Maya. They all have that specific, deep-set hazel gaze and the same cowlick in their dark hair. To encourage her curiosity, I bought 3 DNA kits, one for me, one for Sophie, and one for David. I thought it would be a fun bonding experience. David was hesitant. "It's a waste of money, Claire. We know where we come from," he said, his voice tightening in a way I didn't recognize at the time. But I pushed, and eventually, he did the swab just to shut me up. I finally sat down at the kitchen island and tore open the envelope. I scrolled past the ethnicity estimates, mostly British and Scandinavian, no surprises there. Then I clicked on the DNA matches tab for Sophie's profile. I expected to see Leo and Maya listed as first cousins. I had uploaded their data too, because Sarah had done kits for them a year ago just for fun and shared the results with us. I stared at the screen. My brain felt like it was trying to read a language I didn't speak. Sophie's match with Leo and Maya wasn't in the 12% range, which is normal for cousins. It was at 51%. The site had automatically tagged them. It didn't say first cousin. It said full sibling. I felt a cold, sharp sensation in my chest, like I'd swallowed a piece of glass. I refreshed the page. 51%. I looked at David's results. He was listed as the biological father of Leo and Maya. Not the uncle. The father. I sat there in the silence of my kitchen for a long time. The clock on the wall was ticking, and outside, the neighbor was mowing his lawn. Everything was normal, except my entire life had just vanished. I started thinking back to the timeline. Michael and Sarah had been struggling to conceive for years. Then, suddenly, Sarah got pregnant with the twins. At the time, David was helping Michael with his business and was staying at their guest house 3 nights a week. I remember being so happy for them. I remember David crying when they were born. I thought it was grief for his brother's struggle. Now I realized it was the pride of a father. I didn't call him. I didn't scream. I drove over to Sarah's house. I knew David was there. He had told me he was fixing her water heater. When I pulled into the driveway, I saw his truck. I didn't knock. I used the spare key Michael had given me years ago. The house was quiet. I walked toward the living room and saw them through the cracked door. They weren't fixing a water heater. They were sitting on the sofa, the twins playing on the rug at their feet. David had his arm around Sarah, and she was leaning her head on his shoulder. They looked like a perfect, established family. It was the kind of intimacy that isn't built in a day. It was the comfortable, lived-in silence of a couple that had been together for a decade. "Is the water heater fixed?" I asked, my voice sounding like it belonged to a stranger. They both jumped. David stood up so fast he nearly knocked over a glass of juice on the coffee table. His face went from pale to ghostly white in seconds. "Claire. What are you doing here?" "You scared us," David said, trying to force a smile that didn't reach his panicked eyes. Sarah didn't say anything. She just tucked a lock of hair behind her ear and looked at the floor. She knew. I could see it in the way her hands were shaking. I held up my phone, the screen still glowing with the DNA match results. "I got the results back, David. Sophie has 2 siblings she didn't know about. And apparently, you have 3 children, not 1. The silence that followed was suffocating. Leo looked up from his Lego set and asked, "Mommy, why is Auntie Claire sad?" Sarah quickly ushered the twins into the backyard, her voice trembling as she told them to go play. When the glass door slid shut, the air in the room felt like it left with them. David took a step toward me, his hands out as if he were trying to calm a startled animal. "Claire, listen to me. It's not what you think. Michael was sterile. He found out a year before they had the twins. He was devastated. He didn't want to lose Sarah, and Sarah wanted children more than anything. Michael asked me. He begged me, Claire. He didn't want a stranger's sperm. He wanted the kids to have the family bloodline. He wanted them to look like him. It was a gift. It was supposed to be a secret between brothers." I looked at him, and for the first time in 12 years I saw a stranger. "A gift?" I whispered. "You fathered 2 children with your brother's wife while you were married to me, and you call it a gift? Did Michael also ask you to spend every night here for the last 4 years? Did he ask you to fall in love with her?" "I am not in love with her," David shouted, but the crack in his voice betrayed him. "In taking care of what's mine. They are my children, Claire. What was I supposed to do? Walk away and let them grow up without a father after Michael died? You already had a daughter." I screamed back. "You had a wife. You could have told me. We could have navigated this together if it was truly just a donation, but you lied to me every single day. You looked at me in bed and then went to her. You let me pity her. You let me pack her groceries today while you were playing house with your second family." Sarah stepped back into the room, her eyes red. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she said quietly. "After Michael died, the grief. It just brought us closer. David was the only one who understood. He's the only piece of Michael I have left, and he's the father of my babies. We didn't plan to hurt you. We just wanted to be a family." "You are a family," I said, the realization hitting me like a physical blow. "You've been a family for years. I was just the one providing the stable home base so you could feel less guilty about your affair." David tried to grab my arm. "Claire, please. Let's go home. We can talk about this. I love you. I love Sophie. This doesn't change how I feel about you." I pulled away from him, feeling a wave of nausea. "Don't touch me. And don't you dare mention Sophie. You've been stealing time from her, stealing money from our future, to build a life here. You didn't just donate DNA, David. You donated your heart to someone else and left us the scraps." I walked out of that house while he was still calling my name. I drove home, my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles were white. When I got inside, I went straight to our bedroom. I didn't cry. I felt too cold for tears. I started grabbing his clothes, his suits, his gym gear, the shirts that still smelled like that damn sandalwood candle, and I threw them into garbage bags. He arrived 20 minutes later, frantic. He burst into the room and stopped when he saw the bags. "Claire, stop. You're overreacting. We can go to counseling. We can figure out a co-parenting schedule with Sarah. It doesn't have to be the end of us." I turned to him, holding a framed photo of our wedding day. "There is no us, David. You died to me the moment I opened that envelope. You didn't just have a one-night stand. You built an entire parallel universe. You let me live a lie for 5 years. Do you have any idea what that does to a person? Every memory I have of our marriage is now tainted. Every time you were late at work, every time you went to help Sarah with the taxes, it was all a lie. I did it for Michael. He yelled, his face turning a dark, angry red. I did it for the family name. No, I said, my voice dropping to a deadly calm. You did it because you're a coward. You wanted the thrill of a secret life and the comfort of a loyal wife. Well, the secret is out. And the wife is gone. I kicked the garbage bags toward him. Get out. Go to Sarah's. Go be the man of the house you clearly want to be. Eve already called a locksmith, and they'll be here in an hour. My lawyer will be calling you tomorrow. He stared at me, realizing for the first time that his charm and his excuses weren't going to work. He picked up 2 of the bags, his head hanging low. As he walked toward the door, he paused. What are you going to tell Sophie? I'm going to tell her the truth, I said. I'm going to tell her that her father is a man who didn't know how to value the family he had, so he went out and stole another one. And then I'm going to tell her that she has 2 siblings who are going to need a lot of therapy, just like she is. He left, and the house fell into a silence so heavy it felt like it was crushing the walls. I sat on the edge of the bed and finally, the tears came. Not for him. Not for the marriage. But for the version of my life that I thought was real. I thought about those kids, Leo and Maya, who were born into a web of lies so thick they might never find the truth. I thought about Michael, who might have died thinking his brother was his greatest ally, never knowing he was his greatest betrayer. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the window and watched the sun come up. My phone was blowing up with texts from David, then from Sarah, then from David's mother, who apparently knew the truth all along and was begging me not to ruin the family. I blocked them all. People on the internet always ask, how could you not know? They say there must have been signs. And looking back, there were. The way he defended her. The way he knew the twins' doctors' names but forgot Sophie's dentist appointments. The way he looked at them with a hunger I thought was just grief. But you see what you want to see. You see a good man because you want to believe you married one. It's been 3 weeks now. The divorce papers are filed. Sophie is confused, but she's resilient. She keeps asking why we don't go to Auntie Sarah's anymore. I haven't told her the full story yet, she's too young to understand the complexity of her father's betrayal. But one day, she'll see the DNA results. One day, she'll know that her cousins are her brothers and sisters. And as for David and Sarah? They're officially together now. They didn't even wait a month. I heard through a mutual friend that they're telling people they found comfort in each other's grief. They're still lying. They'll always be lying. Because a relationship built on the bones of a dead brother and a betrayed wife isn't a romance, it's a crime scene. I'm just glad I finally stepped outside the yellow tape.